did you feel about them having snow days? Because I know I felt cheated.
Yeah, I felt completely ripped off.
I had some snow days. It hit -40. The
I had a
buses
couple.
wouldn't run.
They weren't snow days, but there were cold days, where if it was
the brakes
minus
would freeze.
if it was -38, then the buses would not run.
Yeah, but then you don't go outside, right? Every cartoon I see that does the snow day thing is like, oh no, it snowed. We can't go to school. Everyone go sledding now.
It's like,
Right.
are you kidding me? It's -38.
Yeah,
I mean-
well, like, have you ever been outside and it's so cold that your eyelashes freeze together when
Yeah.
you blink,
So,
and you have the moment of panic where you're like,
because it feels like they're never going to come apart again.
You
Yeah.
feel your lungs just burning with cold.
yeah,
So-
or like your
The inside of your
nostrils
nose,
freeze.
yeah.
So we both grew up in the Hat,
Yeah.
but it wasn't predominantly the cold that stopped us. It was whether there was so much snow the rural buses couldn't get into town.
See, and I lived across the street from my elementary school, and they would close this. They only closed the school twice because the snow was so high they couldn't actually dig it out and open the doors to the school.
Oh, because I was in the Southridge area, and so we
Okay.
got a lot of the rural schools as well.
So the buses
if the
can't come
buses
in
didn't
anyway.
come in, then they're like, well, the buses can't come in from the rural areas. No school for anyone.
Right.
And then we would get snow days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we had, if the buses weren't running and you had to take the bus, you didn't have to go to school that day. But if you were close enough to walk, you should still go.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It wasn't the school wasn't closed. It was an excused absence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We just went sledding because we were on a hill. So
So I actually have a snow day story from college.
All right.
Kind of.
All right.
uh-oh.
So I went to culinary school in Vermont. And it was Vermont.
Yeah.
They didn't shut down because of snow, because Vermont.
Yeah, they used to snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first year I was up there, and I had grown up in North Carolina, so much more temperate climate. The first year I went to college in Vermont was the worst winter that they had had on record since 1948. And they had the first time that my culinary school had ever closed classes due to snow. And at the time, I was in overnight baking classes. So getting into class at 9 p.m., getting out of class at 4 a.m., I believe.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
And my entire class, we had all been refreshing our email, waiting for that classes are closed alert because everyone else had gotten it. Of course we would. Instead, a few hours before we had to start getting ready for class, we got a email from the head of the baking and pastry program that said, yes, I know the other classes are closed. I expect you to still be in class. If not, it is unexcused. It will be counted as a demerit against you. With the sign-off, welcome to the real world, kids.
Oh, profs
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
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 The ones where it's like, no, you, Vic, almost treats it as an article of pride
Yeah.
that they don't close the school when it snows in Victoria.
Oh yeah.
They're like, no, the classes are still being offered. We don't care what's happening.
Yeah.
We will not close the school. And it's like, well, the buses aren't running.
Yeah.
So suddenly 40% of your students can't get to school.
Yeah.
And all
And
the
you-
walkways are a hazard.
Yeah, and you haven't plowed anything. You haven't sanded. You haven't salted any of the walkways. So everything is coated in like several centimeters of ice or slush.
Yeah.
Nope.
The classes aren't able to be heated correctly, so everything's
Those
cold.
are fun.
But class is still on. Don't worry, everyone. We won't cancel class. And even the people who can attend suddenly have to contend with Victoria streets where we don't have enough snowplows.
Yeah.
The first time I got a snow day in Victoria was in 2006.
Okay.
First year of my bachelor, and I was like, "Oh, this is really nice," because there was like 2 inches of snow. I'm like, "Oh, this is really gorgeous. This is beautiful. I've missed real good snow from Alberta."
Yeah.
And I got ready. And I was getting ready for the class, and I learned that everything was shut down. I was like, "Why?" I'm confused.
Yeah.
People can't get their cars out of 2 inches of snow.
I know,
They
right?
They don't understand just to go to the lowest gear.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am. What?
Everybody
Well,
has
it's
rock
like-
hard tires
It's-
as they didn't take their summers off.
Well, because why would you?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
Like everyone treats Victorians and Vancouverites as if they're enormous idiots for
Yeah.
not being able to handle snow. But having grown up in northern Canada,
Yeah.
they don't know how to handle snow for the first 2 weeks either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Everyone
just
forgets.
these enormous Arctic warriors driving, like telling each other they don't need to put their snow tires on right away. They got 4-wheel drive, they'll be fine. And they're just gliding sideways down hills, into ditches, or through 7-Elevens, right? And like their Tundra assault vehicles just cartwheeling gently down the streets.
The empty beds of their pickups, not
Yeah.
doing anything to hold down the rear wheels of their on the ground.
No
Yeah, and
sand.
and like, why would we maintain a fleet of snowplows
Yeah.
here?
Oh, yeah.
Right, you
Yeah,
get
no,
to
it
use
doesn't
them
make
once
any
every
sense.
5 years.
So there's a God, one of my favorite stories. It's funny because like because UVic not closing for snow, right? So there was a. I'm going to try to tell this as fast as I can because I want to get onto more Legos. I was still working at UVic just a few years ago. It was snowing, like the snow had just started, but it was coming in kind of thick. But it wasn't like it was terribly cold out, but it was still a little cool out because it was winter. And the snow started coming in, it just looked really thick, and they're like, oh, that's a lot of snow coming in. And nobody knew. And we kind of felt like they're probably going to say they're going to close. I have a feeling because it's just a lot more. The flakes are bigger. It looks like there's a lot more coming in. And then finally, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. They're like, okay, we're calling it. Everybody go home. We're just everybody go home.
Yep.
Now imagine everybody
Oh,
Trying to-
no.
at UVic.
Yeah.
20,000 people,
no.
30,000 people sometimes.
Yep.
Everyone making a mass exodus. And so there's a ring road. There's a ring road that goes all around UVic. You can look on Google Maps and you'll see it. And the bus stop is at one area, I guess, if you guys were looking at the ring road. So it's like on this map, up in the northeast corner, that's where the bus stations are. That's where the bus loop is, and all the buses come in there and they park. But you have this ring that's going around, and everything goes the same way in the ring. So what happened was everybody scattered. They scrambled for their cars, and they went to all the different parking lots to get into their cars. But the only way out, if you're parked down in this area, is to go up and out. And some people parking in this area, they want to go out that way. Why? Because they want to go up to Gordon Head. They want to go to the places they live because they can afford houses up there. So they went up there. Or they want to go to the other side because they own houses in Oak Bay. So they want to go out this way to go to Oak Bay because that's how they always go home. And everyone is backing up the ring road. It's 2 lanes, but it's just chaos. Now, the buses have to run regularly, and everyone is lining up for buses. I'm in a crowd of 200 people outside the bookstore, and the snow's coming down, and my feet are getting wet, and I'm just sitting there miserable, but I have to stand in line so I can get onto one of the double-decker buses. We have double-decker buses in this town. I'm waiting to get onto one of these buses, and I'm lined up with all these people, and you can't go inside because you don't want to miss your only chance to get on the bus. So I'm watching cars backing up along the ring road and buses further back trying to get to the loop so they can pick up these hundreds of people who are waiting to go. But nobody can get out on the spur road because everyone's an idiot and they all decided to go driving. And it's like, if you would just go, because they're like, I need to get out on that road. It's like, if you would go a little further, there's another road out up here onto the same road that goes north-south, but they all want to go out by the bookstore because that's where they go every day. And they're not thinking that if they just went a little bit further, they get on a different road and they can make room for the buses to pick me up so I could go home.
Or even just go with the bottom one and then
You seem
go
to have
around.
some trauma page.
And I was furious because I'm watching this and I'm like, if one of the campus security people would just put on an orange penny and just walk to the edge and be like, cars, get in this lane and go that way. You are not to turn down this street. This is buses only at this point. Because the buses, they will leave and they will move orderly and they're used to driving all day. Not the people who are driving cars to UVic. And I'm just like, if we just had, and I was ready to just be like, give me that thing and I'll go out there myself and I'll direct traffic for an hour if I need to just to get the buses in here because it's just driving me insane watching this ridiculousness on the part of the traffic. So we wait, because I can see my bus, the number 4, sitting there waiting to let all the people out. And I can see past it, further down, another number 4. Because they ran, 10 minutes apart?
Yeah.
And they're backing up. Which means that the bus is now all late, all downtown too. And it was just fury-inducing.
Well,
And I'm glad I don't work there anymore for that reason.
the fact that they patted themselves on the back for taking people's safety seriously,
Yeah.
because they closed the school at 2:30. It's like, no, you didn't. You made everyone show up,
And
and then turned them loose all at the same time.
yeah.
How many years have you been sitting on that one, Beach?
That
No,
happened.
no, he came home and told the story exactly with that much energy the moment he got home.
I was so mad.
And he tells that story the same way every single time.
I've
Because
heard that story 17 times.
once,
He has no less piss and vinegar today as he did the day it happened to him.
once I got on that bus, we had to get out. And it was more of the same to just leave.
Wait.
And until we could leave the ring road, until we could get loose of UVic, it was just a snarl the entire time.
Didn't we live up in Langford at that point too? So you had to take the really long.
No, we still lived in town at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we lived off in Vic West or whatever, but no, we wouldn't have, because I would have taken a completely different bus. We were living more in town.
Okay.
My one experience taking the buses on a snow day was I was walking along the road to go to my bus stop, and the express that doesn't stop anywhere near me just pulled up next to me.
Yeah.
And the driver opened the door and was like, "Get in, no one's coming for another hour." Right? It's like, "What are you doing out? Get inside, man." And I'm like, there's this much snow, right? This was in my first couple of years living in Victoria.
Yeah.
And the first time I'd really experienced snow, and I'm like, oh, I remember snow. I love snow.
Yeah.
I haven't had snow in a long time, and I'm doing my little penguin walk down the street.
Right? Yeah, it's really novel if it's still around by the time you get up.
Yeah, and this guy was just like, no, he had seen the Mad Max universe that was
He was saving
downtown,
you.
and he had decided that no matter what happened to him, he was going to save everyone he could.
I mean, at least he did that. I had, when we did live out in Langford, we had to take a connection bus that only came every hour.
Right.
And I stood outside. This was like a really old, on my way to Desert Bus years ago thing, and I stood outside waiting for that bus stop, and the bus driver not only went past me with having room on the bus, he waved at me.
I've had that
I
happen.
hate those.
Where my bus stop is around kind of like a blind corner, not really a blind corner, but there's like a gentle curve in the road, and it goes down a hill.
Yeah.
And sometimes the bus driver will just go by at 70, right? And I'll be like, "Oh, please stop," and they're like, "Yeah, bye."
Yeah.
Sorry, it would be unsafe for me to stop for you right now.
I'm
Like,
going
I don't-
incredibly
I
fast.
don't mind if they don't see me. Well, I mind, but it's a little bit more awful if they wave at you.
Yeah.
It's one thing when they blaze past you, and it's another thing when they completely don't even see you. The one that got me the most was I had a bus driver start to slow down, change their mind, looked at me to slow down, and they're like, "Nah," and just picked back up speed and just kept driving.
Whoa.
I was like,
Yep.
Because usually
Hi.
they've got a thing that says they're full if they can't.
"Oh,
Yeah.
the bus was half empty."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
this
"What the?"
this is almost universally. They are going way too fast to safely slow down
Yeah.
to stop the bus, and I'm like, you're going too fast.
Yeah, it's a huge. I asked. Rode with the same bus driver for a lot actually. And we would get to talking, and dude explained to me, he's like, our timing points have a plus minus 5 minutes,
That's a long.
and I'm like,
time.
that's a big gap, and he's like, that's what we're allowed to do. If we show up to a stop, and we're 5 minutes early, and nobody's there, then we'll just go past that stop. And I'm like, but it's 5 minutes. He's like, but that's what our thing, that's what the window is 5 minutes on either side. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Well, now I understand that's policy as opposed to anything else. And but it's always made me think, I'm like, why not just, I mean, maybe you have to change your route slightly, or maybe you have to do something different, I don't know, but it seems like you need to build a more efficient route. And it's like, because his whole thing was, he said, those are not for the times of day when it's rush hour. Like, we do the plus minus thing because of rush hour, because we know we're going to be late all the time because it's just bad traffic. So that means, though, during the rest of the day when it's not rush hour, we're still on the same thing. You might get delayed for a long time, so now you're just blowing past stops, and I'm like, oh, give me Japanese transit any day.